Hi guys, it's me, the Big B, and welcome back to another episode of Vintage Gaming on the ZX Spectrum. Now, the last few videos we've been looking at some of the classic platformers, and then I did a little bit of a switch up, and I did Penetrator, did a bit of shoot 'em up, and this time I'm going to change it up again. I did mention in my last video that I was going to maybe do a racing game, and that's where I've decided to kind of go. And I picked a classic, one that stuck in my mind, one that I can never forget. Was a little bit about Penetrator, the shoot 'em up. It's just one of those games that just stayed with us even after all this time, and it's the classic Checkered flag. Now, it was one of the first racing games to do multiple tracks to choose from. Again, you've got to remember this is a 48K Spectrum. 48K. That is not a lot of memory. Even just a standard digital watch nowadays has more memory than that thing in it. And when you want to put that into perspective, the modern smartwatches you can get, like the Motorola 360 and things, they're probably 100 times more powerful and got more memory in than the Spectrum did. So that kind of puts it into perspective for you. So the fact you had multiple track, you had 3D. Now, I'm not talking about mega polygon 3D. That wasn't going to happen, and especially not in the early days of the Spectrum. They did push towards rudimentary polygons later on, but this is hand-drawn sprites. Every tree that comes out of the distance at you and gets closer had to be hand-drawn. Everything did. But the fact is, you had a road that turned and veered left and right. It simulated going up and down hills, albeit rudimentary. It was just like, it made the sky a bit bigger and kind of made it look like you were going up and down hills. You'll see when I start playing it. But the fact is, you had the car on the screen, the front of the car. The Spectrum only had basic graphics, it only had basic colour, yet they kind of did it in such a way that it was all nice, colourful. You had a steering wheel that kind of turned, you had a gear stick, all those little things. Even though saying this now, it sounds kind of silly, because you've got all that in the modern games. But again, 1980s guys, this was pioneering stuff. It hadn't happened before. So I'm just going to stop talking and jump straight into it. Right, so basically, when it loads, you have a map screen, and just the fact you've got all these maps to choose from was amazing. It really was. We were normally used to one map, randomly generated at best, and probably a bird's eye view. There weren't many games, like I say, in this time that were 3D or anything like. So I'm just going to pick up one at random. Number of laps, 2, because we don't want to do any more than that, or this will get really boring. Because unlike a modern game, you'll see, even though it's kind of cool, there ain't many obstacles. There's oil on the road, but there isn't any other cars. This was the one thing that it didn't have. It didn't have any other cars. You were just basically racing to beat time. So you pick your track, and you've got 3 cars. Basically, they all have different types of graphics. They are actually different. They're not just spec different. So you've got basically slow, medium, fast. I'm going to go with slow. Now, the sound's going to get a bit funky, guys, because obviously there weren't any digital sounds back then to simulate engine sounds, and basically it uses the beeper, so it's going to get a bit screechy. So if I start shouting, I do apologise, guys, but I keep forgetting that I'm hearing the sound through here, and you're not. You're hearing it normal, and I don't have to shout, but it's just nature of what it is. So I do apologise, guys. So here we go. There we are, your first screen. Get my keys ready, and basically you accelerate, and away we go. Oh, listen to those sound effects. The fact that you've got the wheels that look like they're actually spinning. The fact that stuff's coming at you in 3D. It was just amazing. Right, we have fuel and we have temperature. I remember that. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Miss the oil. Because you can crash if you hit the sides. You'll see when I hit the sides at some point. Turn. And again, by today's standards, ooh, there we go, skidding. You even had your simulated skidding sound, which was cool. Missed the oil. Oh. Now there, that was simulating the crashing. If I'd stayed on the grass any longer, I would have died. You would have crashed. That's how you'd crash. There are no other cars to crash into. I'll be surprised if I make it round one lap, but again, In the day, this was revolutionary. You had gears, the gears went up and down, you have fuel, you have temperature gauge, you have gauges that actually worked. It's absolutely amazing. Albeit the sound is really annoying. I'm on a straight, I don't know what I was slowing down there for. I have no idea. Now I'm going to hit a patch of oil to show you what that's like, how it simulates skidding. If I can find another patch of oil. Slow down. Right there, just shoots you off and whoa, there we go. That's what happens when you hit oil. But for us as kids, you've got to imagine, why is my mouse on the screen? Get away, mouse. You've got to imagine us as kids who had never seen anything like this before. This was absolutely amazing. This was like nothing we'd ever seen. These objects were coming at you in 3D. The car was on the screen in front of you. And the amount of hours I wasted trying to beat lap times on this thing. Oh, come on, come on. And there we go, that's one lap done. I've actually made it round an entire lap, I don't believe it. When I just tried the keys out just before I started recording, I smashed straight into the side and I was dead instantly. But you always try to push it. But the thing is, and even what I'm doing now, as you can see, it still works. I'm leaning into the turns. I'm actually... And that's the kind of... Again, the imagination you have to use. Even though it's very basic, it's very simple. Oh, get off the side. You kind... Oh, oil, oil, oil. You kind of got into it. You got into the mood. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to crash on purpose on the next turning, guys, and I'll show you one of the other cars. So I'll crash. That's what happened when you crash. That was your explosion. And then you get your best lap time and things like that. You can play with the same thing. We don't want to. We want to go for another track. And we'll pick that one. And I want to go for another car. We'll do 2 laps again. Let's go for the fast one. Let's do it. As you can see, it's fairly similar, but it's kind of, they changed the colour scheme. The front of the car is slightly different. And this one, you have to change gear yourself. I remember this now, yes. Whoa, 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 whoa. I can't remember how to change back down gear, that's it. You have to change gear yourself. This made it really difficult. This is where the temperature of the engine will start ramping up. Second, third. Oh, get off the side. Oh, now I'm starting to lose control. Second gear, I'm going to blow the engine up at this rate. Third gear. Oh, no, I'm going to die. I knew I was going to die. I forgot that it actually did that, guys. No, I'll play with the second car. I'll pick another. I'll just give you a quick rundown of all the cars. That makes it much more difficult when you've got to actually worry about the gears. And was this thing, we'll do the second car. Now I think this one was the same. I remember this one, it had the pointy front, yeah. No, this one you've got to change gears as well. Seemingly the first car is the training car, where it changes gear for you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, this has gone well. Second gear, third gear. Don't hit the oil. Fourth gear. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Speed up. I'm going to blow this engine sky high, which I'm already starting to do. Temperature's rising. Get off the side. Oh, God. I think this is why I remember always picking the first car. Which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a quick go of one more map. I'm just going to do 1 lap and I'm picking the first car because I cannot control those gears at all. So let's just drive, drive, drive. Now I believe there was a pit where you could pull into to refuel. Yes, this is it here. If you stop on this area here, but not at the side, pit stop, you refuel and then you go again. That's if you picked enough laps to actually need fuel. But I'm not going to make this one go for very long, guys, because there's not a lot that I can kind of show you. And especially when you do that. So as you can see, it's basic by today's standards, but in the day, it was amazing. You had a car with automatic gears, and as you saw there, you had the thing where you could change up and down the gears yourself to give you that little bit extra. So if you really got used to how the gears worked, you could push those seconds. You could like shave a few seconds off your time. But if I remember rightly, I could not get the hang of those gears, guys. So I just used to use the automatic all of the time, and we just used to go and hammer and hammer. And my brother and I used to be in competition all the time with some of these games to try and get that better time, just to shave that extra second off to say, I am better than you on that track. And because you had multiple tracks, you could keep this competition going forever, which we kind of did, and we were kind of fairly competitive like that sometimes. But that's it, guys. That was Checkered Flag. Now, they did bring other games out later on, and even to the mighty Outrun that came out in the arcades and things like that, where the graphics were greatly improved, guys. But I will work up to games like that. Like I said, I'm starting in the early days, and I'm going to work my way forward right to the end of the lifetime of the Spectrum. And you can see how the graphics really did progress, how they got used to 3D, and even how they did start introducing kind of basic 3D, proper polygons, well, as polygons could get on a 48K Spectrum. But they did actually do some decent 3D games. And they did start branching out into some really, I mean, you thought some of the first ones I've been shown are a bit weird and wonderful. It got even weirder. Trust me, guys. So I'm going to leave this one here. It was only a fairly short one. Nothing else I can really show you. That's Checkered Flag. That one, again, is one of the games that's freely downloadable on the ROM sites. So go and get your emulator, grab these ROMs, give them another go, guys. You will not regret it. And any of you guys that are too young to remember this, again, get it, have a go. See what it was like for us. See what we had to deal with. You complain now that some of your games are crap and there isn't much content and things, but my God, look at what we had to deal with. Look at the thing we had to put 90% of imagination into these games to make it look like what they do on a PlayStation 4, trust me. But even playing Checkered Flag there, you could imagine yourself in a racing car. You were in that car. And even that, what I did there, where I was leaning into it, that wasn't just for the camera. That's what I did. I remember I used to do that back then. It just is part of the nature. You get into the game, no matter how basic the graphics. So right, guys, we're going to leave that there. Next, I might play, there's a one stuck in my head, and it was a game called Ant Attack. And it was one of those games, again, where I got it, it blew my mind. Very basic concept, but again, had a unique look to it. They did something a little bit different to try and push what the Spectrum could do. And I remember at the time when this game was released, there was a big press release about it. There was a big write-up about it, about how it did the 3D and how it worked and the graphics and things like that. So we might look at that one next time, guys. So for now, we'll see you again, and we'll see you on the next episode.